right, then you tell me. What are we sitting here for?
I don't know, maybe no reason. Look, this kid's been kicked around all of his life. You know, born in a slum, mother dead since he was 9. He lived for a year and a half in an orphanage when his father was serving a jail term for forgery. It's not a very happy beginning. He's a wild, angry kid, that's all he's ever been. And you know why? Because he's been hit on the head by somebody once a day, every day. He's had a pretty miserable 18 years. I just think we owe him a few words, that's all.
I don't mind telling you this, mister. We don't owe him a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? What do you think that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Know what I mean?
No.
Now, look, we're all grown-ups in here. We heard the facts, didn't we? You're not going to tell me that we're supposed to believe this kid, knowing what he is? Listen, I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
President Obama said that one trait he would look for in a Supreme Court justice is empathy, the ability to understand another person's feelings or hardships, to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Apparently, Obama never learned what Republicans already know, that empathy is for dildons and douchebags. Empathy is one of those girly emotions that clouds rational thought and has absolutely no place in the American judicial system. Michael Steele, chairman of the Republican National Committee, summed it up best when he said, "Crazy nonsense, empathetic. I'll give you empathy. Empathize right on your behind. Craziness." So I decided to revisit 12 Angry Men, Sidney Lumet's classic 1957 film about a jury sent to deliberate on what seems like an open and shut capital murder case. That is until empathy, in the form of Henry Fonda as juror number 8, rears its ugly, douchebaggy head. I say juror number 8 because, until the end of the film, none of the 12 white men on the jury are identified by name, nor are the people involved in the case, where a teenage boy from a slum stands accused of stabbing his father to death after an argument. But we do know the jurors' professions, or at least a distinguishing characteristic. Juror number 1 is a high school assistant coach, number 2 is a bank teller, number 3 owns a messenger service, number 4 is a stockbroker. We don't know number 5's job, but we do learn that he also grew up in a bad neighborhood. Number 6 is a house painter, number 7 is a salesman, number 8 is an architect, number 9 is, well, an old guy, number 10 owns garages, number 11 is a watchmaker and a recent immigrant, and number 12 is an advertising exec. All of the jurors are convinced the boy is guilty, except for number 8, who makes it clear that he really doesn't know if the boy is guilty or not. But knowing that the boy has been kicked around his whole life and is now facing the death penalty, number 8 feels the least they can do is have a thoughtful discussion about the case before sending the kid off to the electric chair, much to the chagrin of the other jurors who just want the trial to end so they can get on with their lives. It's number 8's willingness to stand alone against the other jurors and put himself in the boy's position that allows a further examination of a case that turns out to be a lot shakier than it initially appears. What's so interesting about 12 Angry Men is that it's not just about having empathy with the defendant. The case hinges on the testimony of 2 witnesses, a woman who claims she saw the murder take place from her apartment across the street, and an old man in the apartment below the boys who said he heard the fight and saw the boy fleeing the scene. As the jurors re-examine the testimonies, not only do holes emerge, but the jurors find themselves trying to get inside the heads of the witnesses to uncover why they might have testified the way they did. It's a dirty secret of the justice system that while eyewitness testimony is often considered the best evidence, memory and even perception can be horribly faulty and can be easily distorted by bias, personal quirks, and flat-out mistakes. While much of 12 Angry Men resembles a murder mystery, with the jurors analyzing testimony and trying to recreate the crime's timeline, the true brilliance of the film is how it forces the jurors and the audience to empathize with the other jurors. Number 5 bristles at the characterization of the defendant as a dishonest, unfeeling, no-good slum animal because he grew up in a similar neighborhood as the boy, and it's that life experience that allows him to refute some key testimony. Because juror 9 is an old man, he has a unique insight into why the old man living below the boy might have fudged his testimony. In fact, it's the jurors with the least empathy, whether it's because of racism, classism, indifference, or a personal axe to grind, whose judgment ends up being the most clouded. Since Obama's nomination of Sonia Sotomayor for the Supreme Court, Republicans have crapped themselves at the idea that a judge, that is a non-white female one, might use empathy or her personal experiences to help her make decisions. But it's ridiculous to think that any judge, let alone a prick like Antonin Scalia, can be an emotionless machine that dispassionately spits out verdicts once you enter in the relevant data. All people, including judges and jurors, are shaped by experience, and if those experiences help a person better understand an issue and the effects their decisions will have on others, that's a good thing. George Lakoff, an author and professor of cognitive science and linguistics, said, "A judge without empathy is a judge unfit for a democracy." Then again, George Lakoff? Probably a dildon. I'm Jonathan Kim, and this is a ReThink Review.